रोशनी का कारवां.
This podcast is brought to you by Score Foundation.
ये है रोशनी, रोशनी, रोशनी का कारवां. रोशनी. Eyeway, ये है रोशनी का कारवां.
Hi, my name is George Abraham and welcome to Eyeway Conversations. My guest today is Nibin Mathew from Kerala. He is an IT professional and an international tennis player. Hi, Nibin, welcome.
Hi, George, sir. How are you?
Great. Nibin, you work with the Bosch Global Software BGSW.
Yes. Yeah.
So, what exactly is your portfolio there or your role there and what you actually do?
I'm an IT professional. I'm currently working as a digital accessibility specialist at Bosch Global Software Technologies, BGSW, India. And I'm driving an accessibility team here to make the Bosch products, specifically software products, accessible for people, or all individuals. So also do a lot of user experience studies and research to improve the experience of digital products. So that is what is the current role at Bosch. Yes.
You were a student of English. How did you actually get caught up with technology?
So I was a very technology enthusiast since beginning, since my childhood. And when I become a fully blind when I was in 12th standard, initially I was a partially sighted. Later I went to where I became fully blind. So this kind of a change. Initially there was a no direction for education, in which direction I should go. So my parents are actually not that educated. They have not even crossed 10th standard. So since from such a background, I wasn't aware much about accessible science, STEM educations, and all those areas while during my studies. So when I got to know about it after my bachelor's, about that there are a lot of projects, lot of academic lot of courses which are interdisciplinary where I can study even in a technical, semi-technical domains. So that was the time I moved to an IT professional programming background.
You said just now that you lost your eyesight completely when you were in class 12. And then you did a college education. You did an undergraduate degree in the humanities, focusing mainly on English. So in Kerala, while you were studying, what was the kind of support you got from the college, from home, and how did you actually manage? Because English especially has a lot of reading to be done.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, to be frank, language was not that was my passion actually. So it was just to take a course for undergrad. I selected graduation. Even I had a background of computer commerce for my 12th standard. So when I moved to undergraduation with my to the higher education, so one thing was happened. I started using computer often. That was the time I started using computer after while I crossed my 12th standard. Then from home there was not much support in terms of academics or in terms of career. This in that direction there was no support from home, because there was a huge support from family, from specifically my father and mother, and about higher studies and all the things. But they kept inspired me to go for the higher education. But in terms of mentorship or in terms of a technology aspect, I was truly uh, explored a lot myself, and a lot of friend circle, and a lot of people, specifically from Kerala. It was one of the place I feel that I'm blessed because of the digital literacy aspects. A lot of initiative happening in Kerala, so that is something motivated or create enthusiasm to pursue technology part, and that is something helping me to develop the further education career and all these aspects.
If you know of anyone with vision impairment, who needs guidance on living life with blindness, please share the Eyeway National Toll-Free Helpline number 1800-5320-469. The number is 1800-5320-469.
After your graduation, you also worked with the Indian Railways.
So immediately after my graduation, I get into railway through this RRB exam. So there was preparations during my undergrad, specifically to crack one of the government exam and to immediately get into the job. And I worked in Mumbai, Central Railway Mumbai. That was around for 3 years. I was my appointment was in an HR department where Central Railway has around thousands of employees in the same domain. So where I had to support with all the HR related topics, writing email, a lot of emails, a lot of NOCs, a lot of automation process where there, or the paper materials were translating into digital, automating into digital materials. So I was part of that. So, some of the area that I was interested, and most of the areas I was not that interested.
Very often, once you get into a government job, you don't quit to get into any other kind of domain.
People were not that aware about disability. So there was a lot of struggles. Specifically, generally people won't give the work because they have a kind of a stereotypic attitude that okay, person with disabilities are actually not capable of doing work, or they are not trained, or they cannot do this. There is that conventional thing still there. That is one of the aspect. Second thing is the infrastructure that was not capable. I mean, even after requesting a system, after 2 or 3 years also, I have not received a computer system to do my work. So another area, of course, I had a passion in technology.
Nibin, you were telling me about an award or a scholarship or a recognition
Yes.
that you got for your contribution or your participation in STEM education.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
So, as you know that I was one of the child who wanted to pursue science during my 12th. Later, I wanted to continue, but it was not happen because lack of mentorship, lack of infrastructure, lack of accessible STEM education systems. So always that was there in my thought that if there is an opportunity to contribute something to the STEM education part, I really wanted to contribute. So when I was in IIITB, parallelly there was an organization, incubated organization, Vision and Power. So I had an opportunity to work with IIITB and Vision and Power together. So there was a lot of technology interventions, specifically science, technology, engineering, and math STEM interventions to give a next generation accessible STEM education in this environment. So I had a specific contribution to the LMS, one of the learning management system which Vision Number was developed. Similarly, there was a ludic approach for perceiving science concepts for the children. So I was part of all this project. Along with one of the core area I had worked was digital literacy. That was fundamental for STEM education, having a good knowledge in computer with assistive technology like JAWS or NVIDIA or any similar screen reader technologies. So that part I had a wonderful contribution where I had designed a full digital literacy curriculum during this time. That is something. That is something actually gave me a good, excellent portfolio there. That all these things I had that was part of this scholarship where I was kind of an advocate for accessible STEM education plus accessible digital world. So this is something might be G3ICT took me for the scholarship, the international scholarship. So G3ICT is actually Global Initiative for Inclusive ICT. So they have a scholarship called Dare Scholarship. This is an annual scholarship they have offered for specifically for developing countries, people from developing countries. So Dare is actually digital accessibility rights education. So where I was one of the applicant and scholarship recipient in 2021 out of around 250 candidates were across the country, across the world. So they had around 40 people got this scholarship. So I was one among them. From 2021, I was one of the recipient from India.
Nibin, when I read about the fact that you had participated in the World Games organized by the International Blind Sports Association and you had won the bronze medal for tennis, I was very excited because I have been a keen tennis fan ever since 1969.
Oh.
I've been following tennis very closely. So I'm curious to know, A, how did you start playing and how do blind people actually play tennis? Because it's a very visual game, right?
So, entrance to the blind tennis was something happened was, it in 2019. While I was in Mumbai. I got a wonderful opportunity to attend a workshop, which was happened in Mumbai, where I was one of the participant and got into this blind tennis. So, blind tennis is pretty an exciting game. It's one of the important difference I was seeing from our other games is we are playing the same tennis, but only changes is in the ball and very minor changes in the rules. Except all the other things are classic tennis. The ball is providing a sound, and there are three bounds allowed for a blind B1 player. And tennis court will have a tactile line, and there will be lower net height. This is a very basic introduction to the blind tennis. Except all the rules are pretty same. The scoring system is pretty same, pointing system is pretty same. uh, all the other rules for gaining and losing point is same. That is about tennis. So I was a national champion in 2020. There was a national championship in 2020. Later there was a championship supposed to happen in Italy in 2020 itself, so that was cancelled due to this COVID. Later this was the first, no, subsequent years was cancelled because of this COVID impact. This was the year again it come back, this IBSA World Game. So I was very fortunately I was part of it and
So,
become.
so, so in this world championship that you got a bronze medal,
Yeah.
how many players actually participated?
Altogether around say 80 participants were from across the country, across the world. And in B1 category, there were around 14 men players, similar almost 10 female athletes also were there.
So, how many games did you end up playing to win the bronze medal?
So for the bronze medal, I had to play 7 games. I also got a chance to play doubles. So that game I lost, but altogether I played 7 games. Sorry, 8 games, and altogether I played 8 games and 7 singles.
Uh, Now, you are also the representative of the International Blind Tennis Federation. Um, so, as a representative, what is the role you play? What are you responsible for?
Yeah, so right now I am serving as a country representative of International Blind Tennis Association. So the current responsibilities are to promote the blind tennis in India, and talk about tennis India, reach to more people. Uh, you know, so making a lot of players, introducing this tennis, and communicating this organization and the players. All these aspects are the kind of current responsibilities, and yeah.
In India, are you a one-person office or you have a team of people who work with you?
Currently, there are a lot of players in India who are already got the training from during 2018 and 2019, and active. There are less than 10 active players, I should say, and currently there are a lot of things actually in the pipeline for the upcoming uh, uh, championships and all the future tennis plan. There are a lot of things are actually in the pipeline. So yeah, right now very few players are in the country. I am one among them.
So this tennis, you said it's very close to the regular classic tennis.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about the racket you use, and also you said the ball makes noise. But what is
Yes.
the material and what is the technique? Like blind cricket, it's a plastic ball with ball bearings inside. So in the case
Yeah.
of blind tennis, what is the ball made up of, and what
So
triggers the sound?
blind tennis ball is made out of it's a 32-gram ball with a
Yeah.
9 centimeter diameter altogether. So it's sponge ball. I mean, it's a sponge ball with a inside there is a layer where it's a typical table tennis ball size ball is there inside. Inside that there are iron bearings. So this is a structure. I mean, 3 layers, 3 balls. We should say 3 layer of balls. One is outer layers, mid layer, and the inner layer.
So the outer layer is sponge, the middle
Sponge,
layer is
plastic,
plastic, and the inner layer
inner
is
layer is
iron.
iron. Yes,
Okay. And the ball bounces well.
bond bounces very well. Yes,
And in cricket, we find that when the ball is in the air, it doesn't make too much of sound. What about
right.
the tennis ball?
But this ball will make sound whenever, even it is in the air. It makes sound. We can track the ball whenever it is in the air also.
And what's the racket made of? Is it a regular
Racket is a
racket or?
typical racket, ITF approved. I mean, International Tennis Federation approved racket, same racket. So this year onwards, the IBTA, International Blind Tennis Association, approved to play any racket size which is applicable for tennis. So up to 27-inch we can play. And I'm a I'm a player with a 25-inch tennis racket. Previously, I practiced with 23-inch. Previously, it was allowed only 23-inch, but this year onwards, it is allowed any racket size a player comfortable with.
So apart from the IBSA international tournament, are there other global events for blind tennis?
Yeah, every year, International Blind Tennis Association organizing an international championship. This year it was there in Poland, immediately after the IBSA World Game, but I have not part of it. Um, and there are many other friendly matches, many other regional matches in Europe. In in Asian countries, it's comparatively less. I should say it's not generally, it is not happening so far. In the upcoming years, hopefully it will happen. But yeah, mostly it games are happening in Europe.
So if a blind person or a low vision person wants to play tennis, how can he
Yeah.
go about it?
Of course, one thing is actually right now I'm planning for a lot of workshops in across the country. So a blind player can be part of it whenever this workshop happen. And most welcome to the workshop, even if someone is other state. So another thing, you can reach out to me. So you can write an email, uh, inclusivetennisindia@gmail.com. So that is an email ID. Also, you have a reference. Inclusive Tennis India YouTube channel is there, where you can see all the games, all the international matches are uploaded, where you can refer all these matches and see the how the blind player can play. So that is there. That reference is there. So further thing, definitely we can communicate. You can communicate to me or any players in the country who are already aware about it. That is a way, definitely, you can reach out.
To support our work with the blind and visually impaired, you can visit the donate page on our website www.scorefoundation.org.in. Please note www.scorefoundation.org.in.
So I also wanted to know, because I was reading in your the notes you shared, that you had learned the violin. You know, as a kid, I from the age of I think 8 or 9, I learned the violin for about 10, 12 years, right through school and college. Now you also have written that you've passed certain grades of exams. So how did you get down to learning the violin? Meaning, was it your parents who kind of encouraged you to play, or you were inspired by seeing somebody else play? And how did you learn? And music, especially Western music, has sheet music, which
Yes.
you're expected to read. So,
Yes.
as a blind person, how did you actually cope with learning the violin?
So that's really amazing question. So specifically, I'm starting at one point that until I was taking the first grade from Trinity College London, my parents were not aware about this. So I was started learning violin. So that's the first response. So I started in the music is actually one of the things I was passionate. I started playing piano, keyboard specifically, since my childhood. I used to play in church and all in the early days. Later, I completely switched or stopped due to various reasons. Then, when I was in Mumbai, I restarted to continue the music, where I was very, very keen on different music instruments. So one of the things that I heard a lot about violin, and I had a kind of an interest to test how the violin, something that nobody have tried much. So I'm not getting any reference. So just for an experiment purpose, I started. It was a very difficult to get a trainer, but somehow I figured out a musician, Alana Fernandez. She is from Mumbai, and she was my teacher. So I started playing violin, and though it was sheet music, I had to record and learn. I had tried use some of the tools like MuseScore and all the things, but it was not that successful. Even I tried for Braille music also, but I was not that very the beauty of a sight reading is not there, of course. But at the same time, we have to remember, and the kind of a music sense something has had helped me a lot. And first year itself, I was able to take this grade 3 from Trinity College. Later, very I had a lot of motivation from the music teacher. She used to take me to the violin sessions, violin, you know, um, you know, concerts. So those kind of an exposure gave me more motivation to pursue violin further. And in next year, I took the grade 3 directly, skipping the grade 2. So till that I did, though it was a childish, but still it was amazing. And I right now I do both. I do play both electric and acoustic. Both I play. So not often, but occasional. Yes. So that's about violin.
Tell me, what do your parents feel when they see you move from being losing your eyesight when you were in class 12 and where you are today? What are their thoughts?
Um, if you ask this question, I'm not right person to answer this, but still, what I'm observing is there was a stage they were in a little bit depression where they are kind of figuring out, okay, I'm going to be blind, fully blind, because doctors were asking question, does this child know braille? So when they ask his questions, the parents were not really realizing that, okay, this guy is going to be fully blind in a couple of years, because doctors were already aware about this. So there was a stage that father got to know about this. Okay, in that stage, he had helped me a lot, and he had himself learned a lot, and gained the kind of a courage, gained a kind of a um, awareness about it. Even without vision, also people person can live, and he's inspired me a lot. So I think my father was one of the person inspired me a lot without having any formal education. So he had a wonderful he had a reading habit. So all these things, I think something he was very much confident, and all the steps whenever I was taking each of the steps, he was never say no or don't do. He was always very much enthusiastic, I should say. So parents were something kind of a different. I mean, I was very much fortunate with my parents. They were very much supportive always. Um, yeah, so they are really amazing.
Today, what do they think? What do they say?
Um, uh, Even whenever I was, clearing this international blind tennis championship, also, uh, I don't know exactly what happening with their minds, but they are really, really amazing. They're really recognized, and they have a presence in all others' mind. That is something I could gain, and all it's happening. Maybe blindness one of the reason. So they are very much happy about it. Of course, there are at the same time there are concerns. Always they have concerns as a child. As I'm a child, they have concern at me, but still they are very much confident. They don't. I mean, I was one of the most important thing. I'm very much. I'm a traveler. I used to travel alone a lot. So they inspired me. They never ask, where are you? What is the plan? Nothing. They never ask. Even if I'm not there for 2 3 days, they don't call me. I mean, they are very confident where I'm going. So even if I forget cane, they will come back with a cane. They they will always remind me you should take cane. So kind of a very good they are parents with a lot of exposure, I feel, without anyone give the training. So many of these part I'm very much fortunate.
That is really amazing, and I'm glad that in spite of the challenges and the limited awareness in the place that you grew up in, you still have become a shining light for not only for the blind community, but also for people who are in your circles, starting from Wayanad to Coimbatore to wherever you are. It is wonderful speaking with you, Nibin. Thank you for giving me the time. Wish you the very best as you go forward in your life and your pursuits.
Thanks a lot, Joseph. It's really amazing. I'm really happy to talk to you.
Eyeway, ये है रोशनी का कारवां.
This podcast was brought to you by Score Foundation.
ये है रोशनी, रोशनी, रोशनी का